French in the wind.
Yep, WildChild's still in Cape Canaveral and we're still working on boat projects.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Record. Are you recording? Hi guys, so one of the things that we noticed on the last sail in WildChild was that the boat speed as recorded by the paddle wheel sensor under the boat was reading 0 the entire sail, and we've been having a little trouble with it. That means that seaweed and gunk is beginning to inhibit the paddle wheel from free turning. The problem is that that information allows the BNG to make a calculation about what the currents are, current direction, and using that it can create vector velocities to know true wind versus apparent wind. Without that information, it does not separate true wind from apparent wind, and it does not tell us the current information. For us, that sensor is under the floorboards here. We need to pull it out to clear it, clean it, and put a plug in, but I'm nervous as can be to leave a 2-inch hole in the bottom of our boat when our boat is in the water. So that kind of makes me nervous. So this is the BNG sensor, and BNG combines the depth sounder with the paddle wheel. Really, all we need to do is unscrew this, pull this out, stick the plug in, let the water gush all over the boat. Pray to goodness that we can get it plugged again so the geyser doesn't sink our boat. Clean the paddle wheel and then switch them and reinsert them. It's just something that as the captain I'm really nervous to do. I had gone to meticulous effort to make sure that we filmed this switching of the plugs because I wanted to show you how much water gushed in and how effective the BNG system is. But of course, Michelle deleted all the footage, so I can't show you. The plan is, the theory is that the plug... And the next day I spent a fair amount of time at my nav desk working on my electronics. I wanted to create a tricolor light for the masthead. Hi guys, well this is part of sailing as well. I am up the mast, so there's always things to fix on a sailboat, and some of them are at the top. One of the things that we have, I don't know if I can show you, so we have like a light and it's not very bright, so I did this like white LEDs in a band and just kind of zip tied it on to go around as extra. The idea is like extra, a little extra power without, a little extra light without too much power. But when I installed it, it worked right up until the final test, and then one of the LEDs is burned out. We actually use this top of the mast light as our main navigation light while we're sailing because it doesn't blind us and it's visible from far away. So this morning I made a new one with whites and red and greens in it that I'm going to try to put in. I'm also going to try to tap it right into the mast so it holds better, and we'll see how it goes. There's the new LED strand. I got it through my harness here, and then I just crimped on the connections. So now these are heat shrinkable. I got to heat shrink them to waterproof them, and then I screw the whole thing on. Looks like fun, but it's not. So there we go, the light ring's installed. Hopefully it works and hopefully it lasts a long time. We have red and green now projecting forward, 2 whites on the back and a white on the front, and it was tested so I know that it all works. So it's been fun up here on the mast, but it's always uncomfortable and dangerous, so time for me to come down, I think. Oh, look at the boat coming in. And when darkness came, we tested it and it works great. This is a camera effect, guys, from filming in the dark. It doesn't actually look like lightning bolts. And the next day finds Lexi up the mast again, working on a mast camera project this time. Alright, good morning guys. I get to climb the mast again. The project that I think we've shown you that I'm working on is I'm installing the mast camera to be able to look ahead in shallow waters. I was doing it last night, so I'm not sure how much video we got in the dark. One of the things I want to take the time to show you is our climbing system. I learned that the United States military has an expression, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So when you're climbing up the mast, some people climb with a single halyard. If it breaks, you die, like you'll be dead. So with us, we use a rappelling harness and a climbing seat. I have like a rappelling rock climbing harness that I use as my secondary. So that way, if the halyard for holding the bosun's chair ever failed, I would still be supported by a line. I used to be a garage door installer, which is obviously working at heights. And one of the things that you learn is like safety is probably a good idea when it comes to heights. Because if a ladder slips or a line breaks, gravity is a very harsh and unforgiving mistress in a hurry. So what we have for our setup is this is a standard like rappelling figure-8 harness that I'll lock into my carabiner with a locking carabiner. As Michelle's hauling me up in the bosun's chair, I'll be taking the slack out of this. When I get up into position, you can lock a figure-8 harness by crossing it under. So when I'm up there, my figure-8 is locked. So if the main line holding me ever failed, I would then just be dangling on the rappelling harness, and all I'd have to do is get it to unlock, and then I could rappel down. Another feature that I have, this is from my work days, is I have a loop on the bosun's chair. So when I get up into position and I'm working, I'll wrap this around the mast, tie it around the spreaders or whatever, so that if this fails, this holds me close and this will catch me. I really don't want to fall off the mast of my boat. So now, as Michelle lifts me in the bosun's chair, I'm comfortably supported, but should the main line ever fail, I have the rappelling harness. I spent the better part of 2 days up the mast working on the mast camera. It was a very difficult installation and a real pain in the butt to get it aimed and leveled, but I still have it on the boat even now, and it works freaking great. Lovely feature to have. Mast camera, I couldn't really show you very well last night, but the mount that it comes with, a $600 freaking camera from B&G, and the mount is terrible. It doesn't lock in very well, and the camera itself wouldn't hold position, so I couldn't lock it up. So what I ended up doing is I just filled it with 5200, and then I used the electrical tape to keep it aimed as forward as I can. Now it's the next morning, so the 5200 should be holding it in position. Oh, we gotta get that off. And ta-da! WildChild super sexy new mast camera. So I've been working on the plumbing project. We got to get the water maker tied into the ship's tanks. So I've kind of made a bit of a gooey mess. You can see the T-valve that I need. Not a valve, but a T-junction. I have to junction 1/2-inch PEX into 1.5-inch pipe, and there's not a fitting for that because you're not supposed to put the two together. So I'm inventing a fitting, kind of making a gooey mess in the process.
Law enforcement tried to track the gunman's path on school cameras. But the cameras were on a 20...
Hey, honey, where are you going?
The tension between Michelle and I has been mounting for months as we've been trapped together on the boat 24/7. We're starting to get on each other's nerves. Things between us are not going so well. You're doing this. You were doing this. I could see the camera. Hi guys. So we're in Cape Canaveral Yacht Club, and I made some friends with the girls around here, and we're going to have a girls' night. We're going out to karaoke. And I know with my voice, as horrible as it is, you can't imagine me singing karaoke. So the good news is I won't sing so people don't cry. But maybe it's nice to get off the boat and do something not boat related after a whole day of making movies for you guys.
Lexi, why are you scratching?
Good morning guys. So One of the things that the brochure for Florida isn't going to tell you about is the no-see-um bugs. They've got these little tiny insects in Florida that are like the size of fleas, but they fly and they're not fleas, and you can't really see them. And believe it or not, these tiny things actually bite you. So now we've been here a couple of weeks and my legs got all these little bite marks. It's like when you have fleas with your pet back home and they're itchy, so I'm constantly scratching. It's really frustrating to get all these itchy bites from these invisible flying bugs that you can't see, which is why they call them no-see-ums, but maybe it's part of life in Florida, I guess. So, hi guys. I think you don't get to call yourself the captain of the vessel until you've suffered for your boat and suffered on your boat. You have to earn the title of captain. As you know, we've been working for 2 years to get WildChild ready, so we've done lots of suffering, but of course it never ends. Boats always need to be repaired and fixed, and some projects you put off for later. So, right now I am suffering for WildChild for the plumbing. So we've installed a water maker in the engine room, but the water maker output pipe doesn't actually tie into the ship's tank. So that was one last small project that I'd put off for later. I really wasn't sure how to do it because the output from the water maker is PEX, and my tanks have no more ports to open on them. So this is water maker in, and this is the filler tube when we filled the tank. So what I ended up doing is that T that I showed you before, so it's 1.5 inch to 1.5 inch to 1.5 inch. I modified it and put in a spout that was supposed to be a screw-on spout, so of course I heated it, glued it, 5200'd it, piped it, clamped it. So now I have a 3/8 T going into the 1.5 inch pipe. So now all I have to do is connect the water maker output into there, and then now the water maker can fill the water tanks. But the brilliant part of it is, always an argument with you.
Not an argument. I see everything.
Camera's tilted. Yay! Our package has arrived! Yay! So one of the things that we realized in Cape Canaveral, we have a mailing address. We can mail order parts. Remember before I was telling you that I wanted to re-rig the way the running backstays are to free up the secondary winches for the spinnaker or the storm sail? So I spoke to the lovely people at Garhar in California, who are fabulous. All sailors should use them. They're great, easy to deal with, and do a great job. And our package has arrived today, so we're about to unbox it and find out if either Lexi is a genius or Lexi made a boo-boo and this is not what we need. So, here's number one. Ta-da! Oh yeah, this is genius. These guys did a great freaking job. That is beautiful. So now these line on the back deck. The running backstay on the starboard side comes from the pulley block on the tow rail, comes around here through the eye lead onto a moving cam cleat. So now when you're at the helm, you can control the running backstays like this, and they don't have to be on the winches. If you were in a position where you wanted to pressure them, you could still pull the line forward, wrap it around the winch, tighten it, and then release it to the cam cleat for holding. It's brilliant. Like, this is just brilliant. I think we did a great job. 6 mounting screws, 1 for each side. You can see it offset, so they're kind of mirrored. It's a mirrored pair. Custom built, Lexi designed. You don't need to film this. But here's the plan. So the idea is our running backstays are always tying up the secondary winches. Now the running backstay comes through the back block, through the cheek block, through the fair lead, and locks in a cam cleat. So when you're at the helm, you can lock it down, and when you're tacking, all you got to do is pop it up to release it. And if you need to put shaping pressure on the mast, it'll still lead its way around the winch if you have to. But then once you get it to the pressure that you need, you can release it from the winch, freeing the winch for either the storm sail or a spinnaker. Okay, good morning.
Usually I
sailors.
delete
So,
these little
of course, we're
tension
still
fights
doing
between
BoatWork.
Michelle and I to give you the illusion everything's
Can't
lovely.
tell that.
But
Yeah,
Michelle and I are about to break up soon. Season 1's going to end badly. And it's
yeah, I know it's hard.
50 times a day of him just
Bring the
arguing
back down.
and generally being incompetent. And it's driving me crazy.